country.
Well, I can't really see the Russia and Ukraine's NATO facility.
And there we are, live again. Almost didn't make it. Yeah, I'm sorry for the delay. If there was someone waiting for us, it's just that my internet went down 2 minutes before. I think it overheated. But
You're
yeah,
using you're using it too much.
I'm using. That's true. That's true. That's true. You're getting very good information, Larry. Where are you getting it from? So everybody know, yeah, today it's 72 hours to doomsday. Larry Johnson, my good friend, it's good to see you perhaps for the last time or not.
Oh no. Oh, why do you say doomsday?
Well, we're gonna have this Putin Trump's meeting 3 days from now. What are your expectations on that, man?
Well, I prefer to go with low expectations and then be pleasantly surprised as opposed to going with high expectations and be disappointed.
Disappointed. Yeah.
Look, there are a few possibilities for an outcome. Outcome number one is they're going to meet. There's going to be no agreement, and Putin will walk away, keep doing what he's doing, bringing it into Ukraine, and Trump will be pissed off. Option two is that Trump has actually been working behind the scenes to cut a deal with Putin that will get the United States out of this war. And by getting the United States out of the war, will then allow Trump to focus on the economy and, work harder to get his Nobel Peace Prize. Putin's under no pressure. So all the pressure's on Trump because Putin can go on and say, okay, what Putin was not going to do is, there's been some talk, he'll give up Zaporizhia and Kherson. No, he can't do that. It's in the Russian Constitution now. Those are part of the Russian Federal Republic. So Putin has no power. He can't get rid of those any more than Donald Trump could give Alaska back to Putin, as a gift for coming to the meeting.
Well, I thought that was already arranged because Trump today or yesterday came to the media asking him, and he said that he was going to meet Putin in Russia. So I guess Alaska it's already a done deal. Larry. Sorry.
Yeah, well, Trump, he's slipping up mentally. I mean, I'll misspeak from time to time, but he's clearly, showing his age, starting to show his age anyway.
Yeah. So the great concern, of course, I believe the first case scenario that you described there is probably the most possible, most probable. I don't know. But do you think there is possibility? I do believe that the United States wants to get the hell out of this mess. But do you think there's a possibility that they go in that direction? Not our problem.
In which direction?
Not our problem. If the European Union wants to get the babies, their problem. We're out.
Yeah. Well, I know. I don't think J.D. Vance was speaking on his own. I think he had full permission from Donald Trump to say what he said.
Okay, good. But my big question on this, Larry, do you think there is any chance of people on the deep state and I don't know, even somewhere in the government are planning some, very stupid stuff for this meeting against Putin, I would say.
Well, I mean, they're going to try to sabotage it.
I'm talking about something more serious than that.
Like what?
Like trying something against Putin's life or something like that.
Well, if they do, it could or could not derail it. I mean, depends on what happened. There was reports that the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant is on fire today. How did the fire start? So we'll have to see if was that a Ukrainian attack. So if so,
yeah, I can see Ukraine and European Union putting all the efforts possible to derail the negotiations. I just don't think that they are relevant anymore. Perhaps Trump also don't believe they are relevant by arranging this meeting on Alaska, which is
well, I mean, again, what would make them relevant? They'd be a big industrial power. Well, they're not. They'd have large, capable armies. They don't. They are awash in natural resources. They aren't. They're irrelevant. The only thing they're really good for is going on vacation in August, which raises the question: what the hell's wrong with you? I mean, you're living in Europe. August is the month everybody goes on vacation.
It's hot. It's too hot. It's too hot. I'm used to it. I'd rather go on vacations, when slightly less hot and cheaper, because September is cheaper.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. That's also summer for you guys there, isn't
Yeah.
it? Terrible hot there.
It's called summer. I mean, these people go, oh my God, it's hot in July and August. That is if you're north of the equator. Now, if you're south of the equator, you're probably freezing your ass off.
Yeah.
But I just don't get these people that act that when July and August rolls around and it's super hot, that they're sort of shocked. Gee, how does this happen?
It's global warming. It's global warming.
Caveman discovering fire every morning. Okay. Jeez.
It's global warming, Larry. It's global warming.
Yeah.
It was not like that last year or the year before.
Yeah.
Not at all.
We got the Alzheimer's weatherman.
In Brazil, I don't know if there is this thing in the United States. In Brazil now they have the sensation, the thermic sensation. So it's 40 degrees, but thermal sensation of 65. No, it's 40 degrees. The thermal sensation is 40 degrees. I've been to 40 degrees. It feels the same.
Yeah. This is, I guess since Brazil is fairly close to the equator, they're not going to get wild swings in temperatures.
It does not that much. It swings more here in Europe, actually.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
In Brazil, it's more stable. It's stably hot all the time.
Yeah. Unless you go all the way to Sao Paulo, and I guess
and then down.
July and August, it's a little cool down there then.
Yeah, for sure. But coming back to the subject, Larry, what I was going to ask you was about the tries from European Union and Ukraine to do anything. Of course, we know that they cannot do anything or say anything.
Yeah.
But do you think at some point Trump could be again persuaded by playing golf with someone and just people talking smack with him?
No, I think the die is pretty well set. Again, we'll see if the meeting comes off on Friday. It is not the first time that Trump and Putin have met. They've met at least 3 different times, and I base that on I've seen 3 different photographs of them shaking hands and Trump's got a different tie on in each picture. So he was wearing at least 3 different types of ties the previous times he met with Putin. And, I think this is one of the reasons Putin was willing to meet with Trump, knowing that the guy you see in one-on-one, Trump, is a completely different person, quieter, more congenial, not insulting, not aggressive, a little insecure. One friend of mine described him. He said, Trump growing up was the kid. When it came time to, when kids get out to say, hey, we're going to play football, and they'd choose up sides, who'd get picked. He always got picked last. And that sort of stuck with him. And so he's, compensating for that. But, I think Trump is incentivized to try to come out with a win, but it's not going to be a win that will be at the disadvantage of Russia. Even though that's what the Europeans want, that's what Zelensky wants, and hey, they can want it all day long. There's not a damn thing they can do about it.
Yeah, that's true. But related to that, we have this big news. Well, not big news. I don't know if it's big news. I want to ask you about this. All this movement around Washington. Troops going to Washington. Trump saying that he's going to clean Washington from corruption because you have to clean your front door, otherwise the kitchen. I don't know. I didn't quite get the analogy. Of course I did, but it's not a kitchen; it's a country.
Well, look, activating the National Guard. They're local residents there, so they're not bringing in troops from outside of the area. They're bringing in the National Guard to support the police. You've got a different other federal law enforcement weighing in. People are trying to argue, well, the crime statistics are down, but there've been enough people mugged on the streets, carjacking, people shot. It's just the place is not under control, and particularly with all the different homeless camps scattered around in public parks where people can no longer comfortably go into those parks. Yeah, I think Trump's right to clean it up, clean them out. And
Okay.
People are going to holler, "Oh, it's fascist." Oh, well, I'm frankly tired of homeless people who are out running scams. You'll see them collecting money. Oh, I don't have anything to eat, and then they go climb into a Mercedes Benz and drive away. We've had that down, here in Florida several times.
It's not uncommon. Yeah, of course. All at the same time, you have a homeless problem, which is a country problem, and it has to be taken care of. And we can look by any perspective. It's not a good thing whatsoever. We cannot romanticize this. It's not nice to have homeless people just doing whatever anywhere.
Well, a lot of it surrounds the lack of available mental health facilities and treatment centers. And that's sort of an indictment of the U.S. healthcare system.
Yeah. Situation in Brazil is not very different. Here in Europe is going down. We can see it going down.
Yeah, it's been doing that for 30 years.
Yeah.
I've seen the transition in Paris. What Paris was in 1996 to what it was in 2016. A night and day difference, a nightmare.
Yeah, and from 2016, it was very slow for the last 10 years that I'm here. It was very slow. Now it's growing very fast. It's growing very fast. Also, the degradation of people's salaries and jobs. So situation not going better. Okay, moving to Ukraine, Larry. I know I don't want to move to Ukraine.
Yeah, why would you want to move there? They'd draft your ass
It's a
at a
dumb
heart.
idea, right?
They'd grab you, throw you in the back of a truck, and you'd be wearing a uniform, getting shot at.
not the best idea right now. Of
Yeah,
course,
stay away from Ukraine.
stay away from Ukraine. Brazilians, stay away from Ukraine. Listen to Larry.
There are
The man knows what he's
there are
talking
more
about.
Colombians than Brazilians in Ukraine fighting as mercs and getting killed.
And getting killed.
And
But it's starting to raise the cases of Brazilian mercs that are, missing, let's say like that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
all the promises, pensions, money, all that gone. People are not receiving a penny. Best investment in the world. Who said that? Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
Easy money, easy lives. Larry, going to Ukraine, it seems like Russia is breaking through very fast, faster than it's been. It looks like exponential right now. They're just moving and moving and moving. How do you take the situation in Ukraine right now?
Well, why do you think Donald Trump has adjusted his deadline? And initially, the deadline for Russia was 50 days. 50 days to leave your lover, to quote Paul Simon. And then all of a sudden he changed it to 12 or 10. And then when the deadline came, what did he do? Nothing. He had already, the day before, he'd imposed tariffs on India. And all that did was piss them off. The Indians are like, screw you. We're not going to, we're done. I guess the United States thought that, he's some sort of wealthy Lothario who had this girlfriend that you could tell that girlfriend to do whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. And finally made a demand. And she said, hey, blow it out your ass, and walks out the door. So, India said, oh, yeah, those F-35s we're going to buy, forget about it. We're not buying those. There's another plane order. We're not buying those. Oh, our defense minister, forget that. We're not meeting with you. And, all of a sudden the leverage that Trump and his team thought they had over India disappeared. And now you got India and Brazil. I mean, they're furious. And they're going to look for an opportunity to screw the United States if they can get it. Heck of a job, Mr. Trump. Heck of a job.
Well done. I thank him. I tell you, this the man is the best thing that ever happened to Brazil.
Yeah.
It really came to a point that we do have the very, very detached people from reality.
Mm-hmm.
That are cheering out that, peace through strength. He's so strong. He's showing the Brazilian government. No, he's not. He's not showing anything. The best he accomplished with that was, actually making the Brazilian government move, which is overdue for a long time already. They should be moving for a while. Next year is election year, so.
Yeah, I thought that this year would have been seen a retreat or some decline in the power of BRICS and its effectiveness, because with Lula as president, I thought surely that he'd be amenable to sabotaging the process on behalf of the United States. Now Trump's guaranteed it's moving the opposite direction. So that's why Trump accelerated, and foolishly. He thought he'd punish India in the process, but they recognize Ukraine's losing and losing badly. And I wrote a piece last week about this is reminiscent of what happened surrounding the Battle of Debaltseve. And the Battle of Debaltseve, the militias out of the Donbass from both Luhansk and Donetsk were on the verge of defeating the Ukrainian army. And Angela Merkel rushed to Moscow to plead with Putin. Oh, we got to stop this. Oh, stop. We got to have a cease. And Putin agreed to do it. And he thought, okay, yeah, we're going to get this Minsk agreement and it'll settle it. And only later he realized, hey man, I got played. They lied to me. It was bullshit, and I got played. You know, give him credit. He admitted that he'd been taken advantage of, and so you always got to wonder if that's also what Trump is thinking, trying to do, because you know I hear the words, "Oh yeah, Trump wants a deal," but then I'm watching. He's presiding over this signing ceremony of a so-called peace accord between Armenia and Azerbaijan that includes supposedly secret codicils to put U.S. troops in the Zangezur corridor, which is just right on the border of Iran. You know, what's this about? The U.S. has no national interest. It's not like we got large numbers of Armenians in this country.
Well, you have the Kardashians.
Like I said, we don't have just because they're you know celebrities. They're
Thank
very,
you for using that word.
yeah. I was going to say something else. I said, let's clean it up.
I listen here.
But you know, why the hell is the United States staking that out as a country of great interest? It's only for one reason. It's two reasons. One, go after, you know, be pointed a knife at the underbelly of Russia. And two, to use it as a platform for attacking Iran. Those are the reasons. It has nothing to do about bettering the lives of the people in Armenia or Azerbaijan. They're pawns. They're like toilet paper that you wipe your ass with, something to be used and tossed away. And here are Aliyev of Azerbaijan and Pashinyan of Armenia going along with this charade. Just ridiculous.
Which, by the way, they have met last year in BRICS on the BRICS summit.
Yeah.
In Kazan.
They sat together.
Yeah, they sat together and
Yeah.
they were slightly friendly to each other. So at that point, it seemed to me that there was already some deal going on between Armenia and Azerbaijan.
Yeah, I'd be fascinated to find out what it was that the United States offered. What, you know, where the leverage came from, because it's just, you know, there's no objective reason for the United States to be concerned about what the hell's going on between Armenia and Azerbaijan.
Yeah, au contraire, they're more connected, Westernly speaking, to France and Turkey. So,
Right.
yeah, that's well, if they want to go that way, you know, I don't think the Russians or the Iranians are going to be, you know, as friendly as they have been to other nations.
Well, no, they've got, look, Armenia and Azerbaijan combined are pissant little countries, fewer than 10 million people in each. So, you know, they're hell, they're not, they're like half the size of Moscow, each one of them. Okay. So if Russia has to deal with them militarily, it'll be a piece of cake. They've been sending some messages to Aliyev, blowing up. He's got oil refineries, personal oil refineries he owns in Ukraine. Russia's blowing them up now. So,
yeah, for people that didn't understand why we went from Ukraine to Armenia and Azerbaijan, here we go.
yeah.
Larry, so let's move a little bit to the Middle East. Although it seems like things have calmed a little bit, I still see a lot of moves in the direction of, you know, ethnical cleansing Gaza. Plus, just yesterday, I was seeing Israel cats, you know, threatening the Ayatollah Khamenei again. How do you see what's going on in the Middle East right now, Larry? It seems that we are about to go back to stake zero.
Well, they're Israel has embarked on the path of committing suicide. And with the decision apparently was officially made that they're going to reoccupy Gaza over the objections of the military leaders. This would be a classic case where the military is going to go in, try to occupy Gaza, and the Israelis are going to start taking significant casualties, more so than they are now. So as the body count and the wounded go up, the pressure to get them out is going to grow. And yet the people in control of the decision making are these religious extremists that want to stay in there. At some point, it's like what happens with an alcoholic or a drug addict, someone addicted to heroin or methamphetamine. They acknowledge maybe they need to kick the habit, but they don't. And then the life progresses to a point where they either die or are so physically incapacitated they can't function anymore. And that's where I think Israel's headed, particularly if they decide to try to attack Iran or start exchanging gunfire with Iran. It'll be this time Iran's not going to hold back and will unleash its full fury on Israel.
So that what you're telling me now is that what Iran did last time was just, a joke, a play around.
Well, it wasn't a joke, but it was not. They could have launched more missiles and they could have done a lot more damage to Israel than they did. And then they agreed to stop. So, I would have, if I was advising him at the time, I would have said, no, don't stop. Take him out, end it. Because there's no negotiating with the Zionists. There's no foundation for an agreement.
Yeah, I always remember, because this is the second time I remember this sentence on this live stream today. The what Gonzalo Lira used to say, which is that you enter a war with the army you have, not the army you want to have eventually during the war.
Yeah.
I think both, Ukraine and Israel entered the war with the army they wish they would have eventually, with things like that. Larry, one last question. Can I get you the hell out of here? Because it's hot and I want to open the door.
I'm sitting in the air conditioner, so that's okay.
Okay. Now you're just bragging. So you mentioned, which is very, which would be my last question, and you mentioned before the tariff wars. I read a piece these days that Trump is testing the countries. So he tests where he would go with Brazil. Plus, we have the dude with the chick's name that said that Trump is pretty much trying to destroy BRICS by pressing over Brazil, which is the weaker link, not exactly the weakest, but a weak link, as you mentioned,
right.
with Lula and the government in a chaos, in a total state of chaos. How do you see the movements that have happened since then? We discussed this last week, with the coffee being sent, being now trade with China.
Right.
Now we have Brazil calling Modi, Brazil calling Xi and Putin, Modi calling Putin, Modi going to China at the SEO meeting this year, which hasn't happened for the last 7 years, from my understanding. Do you think this is an actual gear movement, or it's more of the same?
No, well, Donald Trump has set himself up to get an award from BRICS for being the most important member of helping make BRICS a strong organization. So, yeah, and he may get a Nobel Peace Prize for helping being an inspiration to bring China and India together in the meeting. So yeah, it's all backfired. That's the simplest way to put it. It's all backfired. Everything Trump's tried to do to weaken BRICS has just made BRICS stronger.
Two governments, Larry. Biden and now Trump. Everything backfiring. It cannot be coincidence. Cannot be coincidence.
Yeah, yeah. No, it is. Again, some people try to think. I know. I consider Alex Craner a friend, and Alex is a
Great guy, by the way.
very astute analyst. But I think he credits Trump too much with being able to play 5D, 4D chess. I think Trump struggles with checkers.
More of poker in the best. That's what you get on the casinos that he built. Well, do you hear me, man?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, Larry, I guess that's it for today, man. Thank you very much for...
As Peggy Lee sang, is that all there is? Is that all there is?
Is there all there is? Is
My
there
friend.
all there is?
Yeah. So,
Did I forget something very important? Please
no,
let me know.
We covered. We'll see. I think the expectations have been set so high for Friday that I think that it's most likely to provoke disappointment in the outcome. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I prefer disappointment at this point. I really prefer disappointment. At least it's a little bit relaxing.
I would like to see some peace break out. The killing stopped, and the neo-Nazis go away. But it's bad. While we're talking, a headline popped up on the New York Post. Russia's making major advances in Ukraine. So it's the spotlight's on, and once Russia gets through this line, there's nothing. Ukraine doesn't have anything else to stop them.
Yeah, I was checking the map. It looks like Russia just crossed the big line. Well, a small dent, I would say, but through the big defense line.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It goes from Pokrovsk to the north into Kramatorsk, Sloviansk, and there's one other. I haven't memorized that yet, but this agglomeration of 4 cities that in the defensive line is stretched is the last major defensive line constructed by Ukraine over the course of the last 10, 11 years.
No time to do it again.
Yep.
That's it.
All right. Hey, listen.
All right. Tell me, man.
See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Everybody remember to follow Larry. I have my camera backwards. Follow Larry on sonar21.com. All his medias are on the description. And see you guys next time. Thank you very much, Larry. Take good care, man.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.